Welcome to this brief guide on how to insert a date picker in Google Sheets. If you've ever found yourself inside Google Sheets having to manually type in date after date after date, you'll know that this can be time consuming and arduous. So today I'm going to show you a way to make that easier than ever. Here you can see I have the top secret project plan, and I have a description of all the tasks that need to be completed, as well as who they're assigned to, but in this column in the middle, I have the deadlines for when each of these tasks is due. And currently, I can click into any of these cells and I can manually enter in the date. This can be quite time consuming if I have a very large spreadsheet and increases the likelihood of mistakes. But at least if I make a mistake, I can simply double click into a cell and I get a date picker. This makes it much easier for me to be able to select the correct date, and I can also see what day it is and things like that to make sure I don't make mistakes in the future. However, any of the blank cells that I have, if I double click in them, I don't get myself a date picker. There is no option inside the insert menu for me to be able to insert one either. So I'm going to do it manually using an option called data validation. So we're going to select all of the cells that we would like a date picker for, select the data option in our toolbar, and then we want to head down to the bottom and select the option for data validation. Selecting this is going to open up a side pane where we can create our data validation rules. To create a rule, simply click on the Add Rule button, and you'll notice that the Apply To range has automatically input the range that we had initially selected. If we want to select an additional range as well, we can use the option here to add another range and then simply highlight the cells that we would like to select. To remove any of these, simply use the trash can item next to the appropriate range. Select OK once you've got all of your ranges chosen, and then we'll need to select our criteria. Using the drop-down menu, we'll see that we have lots of options available to us, but the option we should select is valid date. Once we've selected this option, we will be able to choose whether or not we show help text for the selected cell, and we can manually change what this help text will say by clicking into the text field here. For this demonstration, I'm going to turn this feature off, but then in the next option, we need to select the option that says reject the input if the data is invalid. Now that we've got our options selected, we simply click on Done down the bottom, and what you'll notice in the data validation rules section is that we have our date is valid rule showing here and the appropriate cells for it. Now, if I was to simply double click into any of these text fields, I now have a date picker because Google Sheets knows that the text that needs to be in here can only be a date and will be rejected if it is anything other than that. And I'll just select the last couple of dates here, and as I'm sure you'll agree, this is much easier than what it would have been if I had to manually type these in, especially if I needed to jump a couple of months ahead and make sure I'm selecting the right dates. And now my top secret project plan is all completed. And that is how you use data validation rules to insert a date picker in Google Sheets. I hope you found this tip extremely useful and it saves you plenty of time in the future, and I'll catch you in my next video. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, be sure to check out the channel, and if you like what you see, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.